Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on navigating reports. We have a full house today and a full agenda, so I'm going to turn things right over to Chuck.
Very good. Well, Sharon, thank you very much, and welcome to Navigating Reports. Reports we talk about a lot as a company trying to give you options and tools and ways to help you get information out of your system. So we've got a lot of history of reporting tools, tips, but I'd like to kind of do today kind of an overview of the navigation aspect. And we've got balls as the colored balls as our outline. We probably should have gone with ships or trains or maps, but we'll talk about how to go about kind of at the, if you would, the macro level, the forest level, looking at the reporting system within Student Manager. So we're going to talk about this whole navigation tips, tricks, and techniques. So we're going to talk about strategies for getting reports, kind of give you the big picture. And again, I need to say we've got a range of folks who are attending today. Some of you have been using Student Manager and ACEware for years. Others, it's been months. Others, it might be just weeks. So we're going to try to cover this probably more on the idea of an overview or a beginner. So it is a refresher for some of you seasoned staff. For the newbies, hopefully it'll give you some kind of perspective of what we're getting about. So again, back to the list, strategies and kind of an outline of the report options in Manager, talk about the ad hoc reporting tools, show you and remind you again about managing reports, kind of cover that difference between queries and reports, talk about report inventory. And again, we've got some unique reports in the system that will help you kind of get an idea of what is it you've got inside the box there. We want to cover favorite reports, sharing reports, and then again, other resources available to you on reporting, including the report wizard, which is we'll talk about in a bit. And then close with resources, which will include top reports guide, and I didn't get it on this list because it was kind of a late ad. Chuck's tips, top 10 tips for reports. So there we go. As usual, go ahead, type in a note in the chat window if you have a question. We're anticipating a full hour, so if we don't have time to get to your question online live, we will cover it in a follow-up. And again, some stuff Sharon's going to get permission, is going to ask relevant questions, kind of the way she thinks it fits into the PowerPoint. Otherwise, we'll hold that and we'll cover it in a follow-up note. But do ask them. Keep us honest. Let us know what it is you'd like to know, and we'll make sure we get that covered. All right, finding the report. And again, one of the dilemmas, I guess you say it's a dilemma of plenitude of reports in Manager, is that there are tons of them. Lots of different reports, lots of different areas, and your dilemma always is finding that one report you want out of all the different reports, the old needle in a haystack kind of thing. Well, that's what we're about to try to help you today. Primary areas. Number one, of course, is the main reports menu, which we'll review for you. Second one is quick reports from the various data streams. Then, again, one of my favorites, the one key reports, the function keys, you know, how to use the quick keys to get you data. Exporting raw data. I know a lot of you are Excel wizards, and so being able to export the raw Excel data is something that is an option, and it allows you to kind of do it on yourself. And then certainly, finally, the report wizard, which is an optional reporting add-on for the Student Manager toolset. Main area, main reports menu. So again, we're looking at a Student Manager menu screen, and there is the main reports menu. 84 reporting areas grouped by function. And again, the thing to note in here is that each one of these reporting areas, and I'm going to actually get over to the student manager demo here, and so that if we're looking at accounting, daily income by source by date, that's one of the 84 report areas. We know that this particular report area includes specific data files, the names information, pay information, course information. So again, if you're looking for a report, what you're going to need to know is, does the report area you're starting with include the data files that you're trying to get out? So how do you know that? Well, you're going to go to the help guide. The Student Manager Online Help has a report area guide section, and it shows you the reporting area. It tells you the name of the report, which would be the report name if you're exporting or importing, and it tells you what are the data fields that are included in that area. So here's that daily income by source, course records, name records, pay records, and register records. Those are all the tables that if you want data that's in one of those records, you should be able to get it through that daily income by source by date area. Now, I'm going to go ahead and jump to the web here. And, oh, too fast. Tab over. Here we go. And reference the help guide. So again, online help, you can get it from Student Manager by clicking on the red help button, or you can go to the ACEware main page and go to customers, and you'll see the online help. But again, under reports, the report area guide is where you've got the definitive descriptors of what is included. So if we were to go to course information, CEU reporting, courses, course user defined fields, and location. Course details, course location, grouping codes, fees, and course user defined fields. So again, depending on what it is you're looking for, the report area guide is where you can find it. Now, I don't have this on the PowerPoint, but while we're talking about data elements, I want to kind of make sure if you get into report building, or again, you're saying, I'm looking for a piece of data, I know where it is in Student Manager screens, but I'm not sure what the field name or the table is. Well, your answer there is to go to the Help Guide Reports Screen Layout. This gives you pictures. So if you wanted to go to the course record and you wanted to know what was the account number field, what exactly was the name of that field, you can see the picture of the screen, hover over the field, and you'll get a pop-out, co-account, or if I click, it tells me the field name, tells me the table it's from, and it even gives me information about the length and type of data that belongs to. So again, screen layout with field names is again a great resource for you as you're working with the reports area. Quick reports. Okay, the next area for you to be able to get reports is from the quick reports that are on each of the main data screens, the name, the course, the register, and instruct, and you'll see the quick reports button on the menu bar. So again, just look for quick reports on those fields. The advantage of that area is that you don't have a query because it assumes if you're on the course 17 ACE 101, you want that course data. So again, automatically gives it to you without going through the query aspect. Sharon, how are we doing so far?
You're doing a good job.
People paying attention. Good enough. All right. Special reporting tools, function keys. Again, one key wonders. And the place to get to those is by just pressing the F1 key. So from the Student Manager screen, from the student manager screen, I'm a student manager. If you just press the F1 key, it'll give you the little shortcut cheat sheet. So you can see F2 enrollment report, F3 instructor, person, pay grabber, dashboard. So we'll kind of go through those. So what are your options there? F2 is the enrollment report, quick list of classes showing enrollment and a lot of other detail. In my opinion, for most practitioners who are working with courses every day, if you're not using the F2 key 2 or 3 times a day, you are probably wasting a lot of time looking up data that the F2 key is going to get you a lot quicker, faster. Number 2, person locator. Again, the new SM8 gives you some options for searching, like for first name, that you couldn't get before with 7.2. But the person locator option does give you some things you can't get through the normal student manager search or lookup. Number 1 would be looking up by an address, like a street address or a post office box, looking up names just based on the city. And again, things like looking in the comments, trying to find comments about a person or any history, and also credentials. If you're starting to use credentials, it gives you a good place to start. F7 is the pay grabber. Anybody who is responsible for finances should be able to really get some benefit out of pay grabber. It lets you dig out information about who paid, when did they pay, how much they paid. So if you're trying to do, again, needle in a haystack, looking up information about a payment. A student calls in and says, well, my dad paid for a class in 19 blah, 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 and he used a check, and it was check number 121. What did we pay for? You actually, if you stored the check number, you'd be able to dig that payment out using the F7 key without going through a complicated query building process. Dashboard. Dashboard is one that's really kind of intended for your coordinators, your program managers, department heads. Shoot, even deans and directors can learn how to run dashboard. So again, it gives you base information about upcoming classes that might be under-enrolled or classes that are close to full. You can get financial data, what are enrollments for this quarter compared to last quarter, and you can then scope those. You can either do it by coordinator, subject code, by account code. So again, if you're wanting to get quick thumbnail numbers, that F9 or the dashboard is a great way to do that. And we have a great webinar on how to use those. Functional function keys in the reporting tab. Feel free to look through that. If we've got time at the end of the session, I'll be happy to demonstrate a couple of those because again, they are really pretty flexible, pretty multi-use tools for just getting more ad hoc reporting kind of capability. Exporting files. As we talk about exporting files, and we'll get into some export options in a bit here, but one of the questions that we often get from a customer or a user of ACEware is, what's the best report area if I want to do exports? Obviously, it depends on what it is you're wanting to export. Financial data, I don't have finance data in here, but probably it would be the daily income by source by date or daily income by source by course for finance reporting. But for name information, I would point you to mailing labels, because in the mailing label area, you only have one name per row, so that you would have a non-duplicated set of names coming out of that. For registrations, where you say, I want to show all registrations that have certain criteria, deadbeat reporting area is one. That is probably the one I'd point you to. And again, if you're exporting courses, the CEU report area is the one that I'd suggest as the place to start. And then, of course, you may need to negotiate with your tech if you've got some other kind of unique needs. Sharon, spot check. We doing okay?
You are doing just fine.
It gives me an excuse to take a sip of coffee here. So, okay, managing reports, importing and exporting reports. As you know, you should know, one of the benefits of using Manager is that you can share reports with other ACEware users all around the world, and we can send reports to you out of our ACEware shop if we have one on file that you find that you're asking for that we can share with you, or that we might have in our inventory that you say, I'm looking for a particular report. Say, well, we made one of those, or we have one of those in a file here, let me send it to you. So again, if you're importing reports from one that somebody here at ACEware or a fellow ACEware user has sent to you, basically use the tools, reports, import report area. It'll give you a file selector dialog. Select the report you want, hit the import button, and it will go into the reporting area that it belongs to. Exporting reports. If you're wanting to get a report to a colleague, again, to send a report to us at ACEware to take a look at, basically you'll go through the export area, and then it'll take you to your report listing inside Manager, select the report, and then save it somewhere on your hard drive, and then send those. It'll generate two files, the report with a .dbf and a .fpt. So you'll see you'll see a pair whenever you do the export option. Report management. So importing and exporting reports. Managing reports. One of the things about reports, especially if you've had student manager at your place for a number of years, is that reports can grow kind of like weeds, because somebody built a report 10 years ago and now somebody's modified that report, and then a new report has been modified. And again, if you're not using reports, if reports have never been used in ages, you ought to either delete the report or use the rename, move, well, not rename, move, activate, deactivate, because you can actually not delete a report, but if you say, well, this is one I don't think we're ever going to use, or we haven't used in years, but somebody might ask you for that report from 10 years ago, then you can deactivate the report. And I'm going to go ahead and jump to Manager on that. So under the report area, tools, reports, activate, deactivate. So it'll ask you for the area you want, deadbeat, and again, it'll show all of the reports that are active, have a little check mark there. If for some reason say, well, here we have a report from 2004 to 2014, I really am not probably going to use that for a while, I'm going to deactivate it. Now that will hide that report from users. It doesn't delete it, but it kind of puts it out of the way so that it doesn't show up when a user goes to look at additional reports. Again, if you haven't been in the report management area, report rename move, the rename move area is one that allows you to do things like change the report name. You actually have a chance to write in notes in the report memo, and you can move it from one area to the other. And again, in some cases, you have to check with your technician, and they'll tell you what areas are compatible. You actually can move a report from one area to another. So again, there are sometimes you'll have to do a little editing, but that is the tool, this report mover renamer utility that it allows you to do. Okay, back to the show. Examples of a report share, and again, we'll give this example. Was working with Lee College, and again, Manuel is the one. We'll do a shout out to him. They're business office was wanting a year-to-year monthly comparison for their accounts. And he built a report that would take, you would run a query for a month from the previous year and a month from the current year, put it into statistical reports so it would show by account how much money, how many classes, cancellation rate, registration, income for year one, and then what would be the income for year two and the differences between, or the totals for that and the percentages thereof. So again, that's a report that was created. Manuel exported that, sent it to me, and we're going to put this template in the reports template area. I was thinking by next week. Cheryl was working on it this afternoon. It could well be there by the time we're done with the webinar today. So that'll be called, I think, the monthly comparison, year-to-year, multiple year comparison. All right, continuing with managing reports, deleting reports. We talked about if you've got reports that you've really never used, you don't anticipate using them, and again, understanding that if you have made a backup of your data, the old report is actually stored with backups, so if there really was a reason you needed to get a report back that you deleted, if you've got backups, it can always be restored from the backup. But basically, a couple of ways under Tools, Reports, Tools, Delete Additional Report. Select the Sort option, Natural Name, select the Delete box on the report you want to delete, hit the Done button, and you'll actually wipe that report out. While we're looking at this, and again, this is kind of illustrative, I'm going to go to Live because I think it's a little clearer. Tools, Reports, Delete Reports. Again, natural order, name order. Natural order would give you the reports based on when they were created. So basically, it's kind of the creation date. I don't show the creation date on this, but this would be in the order it was created. Key elements in the report area. One would be the date last updated. Number two would be the run count, which is the number of times this report has been printed. If you preview it on the screen, it really doesn't ever get, the counter doesn't increment. But that run count is how you can tell how often a report has been run in your system. The other date that would be critical is when was the last time this report was run, and it'll also tell you who was the user who ran that report. So if you see a report that was run 2 years ago by Miss Lindsay, and you say, well, Lindsay, do you still use mini transcript? It's been 3 years since you've used it. And she might say, yes, no, but the point is, if you're also the keeper of the flame or the person who's trying to help maintain your reports, those are some of the reference points you're able to use as you're doing the management of those. So, Sharon, again, breather, excuse to take a sip of coffee.
Well, we had a question from somebody asking if they created a report area for archive, if reports could be moved to that location.
Boy, I don't, if Matthew's online, I was thinking that the report area, I think there's only one set of reports. I don't think we move reports to archive. Matthew, you there?
Yeah. Yeah, no, we don't have a separate archive area. You can run reports when you're in archive mode. There are certain report areas, certificates, and rosters that pull from both live and archive. So, yeah, there's not a separate area though.
Now, if the question was deactivating, now again, deactivating and archiving are two different things. When you're on a report area, so I'm going to go in the deadbeat now, and I'm going to show additional reports. Well, the life history from 2004 to 2014 is not showing up in this report because I deactivated it. Now, the report is still there, and if the question was, if you deactivate a report, can you go back and get it again? And the answer is yes. You go to Tools, Reports, Activate, Deactivate, go to Deadbeat, and in the report that was deactivated, you'd say, oh, I want to make it active again, and it'll just automatically show up because, again, all you're doing is flipping a switch active or inactive in the same way that when you do codes like account number codes or interest codes, where you say it's an active code or an inactive code. It determines whether or not that code appears in the list when you're adding codes on a course or any data element that you're working with. Sharon, anything else you want to hit right now?
That's all for now.
All right, so we talked about the managing reports and doing some maintenance on those reports. A general question, and most of you presumably have covered this, but the idea of queries and reports, and again, other than quick reports, which really don't have queries on, most every other report that you've got area, including your function key reports, you've got to give it some kind of data for student manager to know what is it that goes, what is it that goes into the box. The query is the question that says, you know, what kind of a creature do I want to put in a report? Do I want in courses by range of date, courses by course number, courses by account number, and that is what the query elements are. And of course, the report is, I shouldn't say of course, the report is the template, the format, the layout, landscape, portrait, in how you're going to display the information that the query will deliver to you. So again, that's probably a way simplified area of doing that, but again, kind of make sure we understand that for most reporting areas, you've got to have query elements about what data you're going to bring in, and of course you'll have a report, which is the format and layout of how that data is going to be presented. And again, previewing, there is an extensive set of webinars. There's an extensive set of notes in the help guide that go into more detail on this. So again, the query screen that you've got, of course, you'll note it has the ability to add new query elements, edit existing query elements, copy, rename, delete. And again, it is the who, what, when, where of the data that you're going to be putting into the report. Running reports, and again, there are a couple of different screens that you will be moving through when you're running reports. I'm going to just kind of review for you. There are some unique ones. For instance, Cashbox has its own kind of a template that it uses for reporting. Statistical reports. Statistical reports have some of its own unique kind of setup for reports, but most of the rest of the reporting system uses this general layout. Has options, preview, export to file, probably has include canceled or not. It has modify option, default or additional reports, recycle a report, recycle the query, the ability to output the report format in different formats, and of course the ability to email the output file. So if you've got the email manager working for your system, you can actually export a report to a PDF or to a CSV or to Excel and automatically pop up an email screen to send that report to a particular individual. So again, there are various options in here, kind of depending on the report area. Mailing labels has print mark labels. which is the only reporting area where print mark labels appears. And the purpose of that, if you're wondering, is to do catalog request fulfillment. And again, if you're not, we've got, I'm just curious, Sharon, I haven't really gotten people to do this, but if you would, Sharon, move everybody's hands down. I want to have you raise your hand if you have used print mark labels in the past year. Well, this year, since the first of the year. Have you ever used print mark labels to generate a set of mailing labels for like a brochure fulfillment or response to student inquiries? Anybody?
I'm just very few, about 3. So we make 3 or 4. You may want to cover that.
Not very many. Well, we'll make a note if we're really scooting along here. That might be one I'd want to cover before we get done here then. So, all right. So the idea of the report setup screen, one of the things to pay attention to is that on data that includes course information or registration information, you're generally going to have a canceled records option. And so the idea is, do you want to include registrations that are canceled, or do you want to include courses that are canceled in your report? So again, depending on what it is you're trying to do, that is something to kind of pay attention to, so that, again, the data that you're getting out of the report is doing what you want it to do. Okay, well, let's talk about inventorying or reporting on reports. It's kind of navel-gazing or contemplation here. Again, it's important to know exactly what you've got in the system for reports. And we actually have, and most of the data sets, I think, will have these reports in that are called all reports with memo, reports by area frequency, and reports by frequency. And they are stored in the deadbeat area, which is kind of, if you would, a kitchen junkyard drawer. If you don't know where else to put it, we actually can put it in deadbeat and give you a way to get to it. So how do we do that? Well, you go to the deadbeat area, select additional reports. In those 3 reports we're going to show you, the query really doesn't matter. I'll suggest course begins with, and just pick a course with registrations. If you have the show me the money option on deadbeat turned on, click no, we don't care about that. So again, those are the 3 report areas: new all reports with memo, reports by frequency, reports by area frequency, reports by frequency, and last ran. Well, what do they do? Well, we'll take a look at that. So we're going to go reports, accounting, deadbeat. And I'll just say on the outset, if you're looking for reporting, and let's talk about reporting. If you're looking for reporting on registrations, the deadbeat area is probably the most comprehensive one in the system, because it has, well, let's go find out what it has. We'll use our help guide. So we're going to go to the report area guide, go to accounting, special 1 line 1 reg. And so it has the course records, location records, name data, name user defined fields, and register data. So between that, you really have most everything you need. Now I will add, it also has in the report area a column for total paid and total owed and total paid on each registration. While it doesn't show pay detail, you can see a balance due or how much they've paid on any given registration through the deadbeat area. So we're going again back to running a report of reports. So we go reports, accounting, deadbeat, and I was bragging about how that's my favorite report area. So what we're looking for are 2 or 3 reports: new all reports with memo, and then the reports by area frequency, reports by frequency, and reports by last ran. Now again, you'll note show additional reports on the setup screen. You can't go to any of these reports. It just shows you what is available in this reporting area. All right, so we want to do additional reports. We don't care about the rest of this. Well, I guess no, we don't care about the query part here because this is really nothing to do with deadbeat. We're really using this just as a location area to work from. So we want course number begins with. We're going to pick a class with some registrations in. Now we're going to go to the query area and look for this new all reports with memo. Now this is an updated one, 2016. And so what this will do is it will look in the reporting tables where the reports are stored, and it'll organize by the reporting area, attendance report. It'll tell you if it's a predefined or if they user-defined. It'll give you the total amount of times it's been run, when it was last run, when it was last modified, who modified it, and if there's a description, it'll give you a description of that report. Now, I hadn't planned on this, but I'm seeing here with asterisks, and I'm going to ask somebody to tell me real quick, when you asterisk in a report, what does that mean? I'm gonna take a sip of coffee while you answer that question. Sharon, who gets it first?
Well, I don't think anybody could type quite that fast, so let's see.
Come on, guys. What does the asterisk mean on viewing a report? We got a whole bunch of you out there. Somebody's got it. Nobody? Everybody asleep? Come on, guys.
Bigger than what will allow.
The field is too small. The number is too big for the amount of space in the data field. So I actually, because I want to show you what it really looks like, I am going to jump into modify on this real quick, and we'll correct that, which is a little lagniappe here. Last run, and you'll also note the last modified, where you're seeing dashes here. Again, we don't have enough space in the field for the date to display. So we're going to go through that one more time, modify, and we'll do our course number begins with. Now, a couple of things for quick tips. When you're working with the course number data field in a query, and you want to type in the same course that you used before, the Alt F1 key stores to a little clipboard the value of the last course number you either typed into a query, you opened up a course record and edited the course, or you opened up a registration and were doing something with the registration. So I'm going to hold the Alt key. Trust me, I'm not doing anything else. Hold the Alt key and press F1, and it'll paste in the last course number that I typed in this box. And how do I know that? Because the F1 key tells me Alt F1 repeats the last course code. So let's run it again. We're going to do it in modify. Did I click modify? I hope I did. All reports memo. Here we have the memo field. We're not going to get into this a whole lot for some of you that have played with the reporting tool. That was the run count report. You'll see it's a fairly narrow box. I'm going to widen the box. Report last run, I'm going to widen that box for the date. I'm going to widen the box for the date here, do a preview of it, and now we have numbers in the box in my demo data. The poor records haven't had many reports run, but you can see now, I can see the year and the year up here on the reports. So we'll close the report and save it. Save the report. Save it as that. So now we've got the report that gives us the data that we need. So again, what that tells you, why do you care? What that tells you is if you're kind of trying to manage reports and you've got reports in here that were perhaps last modified in 2004, and no one has run it. Well, now there's one. Actually, you'd want to look at last run. Okay, there's last run. Okay, well, we've got people running reports in here. Let's go look at some other reports. Here's one, Budget Main, last report. It hasn't been run ever, and it was created in 2004. Well, that's a report that probably could be deleted because it just doesn't look like anybody cares. All right, so we are, that is the reports by the total inventory of reports. I'm going to do one more on that, and that is the area frequency one. In the area frequency one, what we want to do is we're going to look at this one, reports by area frequency. So we don't need to modify. We think we are good on that. Again, we don't care about the query. I can do my Alt F1, report by area frequency. Now, what this gives you is by area, which reports are used the most. So in the cash box area, predefined report was used 5 times, the user-defined report was printed 0. And again, recognize my demo data set doesn't get a lot of activity. But in the deadbeat area, let me get the screen up. There we go, deadbeat area. So again, the most, it's in from lowest to highest. So in deadbeat, the predefined report was run more times than any other report. If you're the manager of your student manager, that's what you want, because you want to have the report that is used the most in an area set to the predefined. Well, why do you do that? So your users don't have to click additional and go find the report in the additional reports area. So again, there is a way to move that report to the master. If you have a report, and I see I don't, in my demo data, I don't have any report areas, course details. All of my predefines are the ones that happen to be the ones I use the most in my onesie twosies in the demo set. So that was the reports by area frequency. So again, that gives you some ways to get in and be able to analyze what you're doing with your reports in the system. Sharon, how are we doing so far?
You're doing fine.
All right. So reporting. But again, here's this, where's Waldo? What if I can't find Waldo? I mean, what if I can't find those reports that you're telling me about? Well, a couple of things. One, you might check to see if somebody in your shop deactivated it by going to the report tools deactivate area. Or if you would, go to get a student manager demo and pull it out of the student manager demo, which, by the way, I will recommend if you personally or your shop doesn't have a case for this, is that I would recommend that you do get a student manager demo and bring it in, because it would have updated reports and it would have some of these specialty reports that we're talking about, so that you could get the reports, export them out of the demo, and then import them into your live database. Or, of course, email your tech, and your tech will be happy to send you these reports, and then you can put them in the system. Well, kind of back to that needle in the haystack question, or the treasure map at the beginning here. Let's say you've got a report that you made that was exactly what the doctor ordered, but it was a year ago or 6 months ago, and now you're saying, where did I put it? Did I put it in deadbeat? Was it in daily income by source? Was it in registration fees and payments? Well, if you can remember anything about the report, or if you have a copy of the report with a header that has the title, or if it has, that it has a particular graphic on it that was the annual report logo and it has a certain logo, you can click on the search reports for keyword, and that will let you type in the name of a data field, if you have a label or header or descriptor header at the top of your report, a keyword out of that, and it'll tell you all the reports that match that particular keyword. A function, if you knew you used some special copy function that I'm going to tell you about in a bit, you could search to see which report has that export tool that Chuck was talking about. So again, that's the search reports for keyword. Favorite reports. I'm going to ask right off the bat, Sharon. We got people should be staying awake here. Drop everybody's hands, and I want to know how many of you have a favorite report that you have used or set up for somebody else to use in the last 3 months. This is 3 months now. Memory is ought to be able to handle that. Raise your hand if you've done user reports on that. And
watching. Looks like just about 10 people on here using that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's about 20%. That's I'd like to see more. And again, you might want to cover that. But the idea of the favorite reports is that you can speed up, you can streamline your reporting process by using the favorite reports. And just a note is that the default value is that when you're setting up a favorite report, the report name by default is the report name of the report you're using, but you can modify that. Chuck's Bestest Deadbeat Hunter Report, so that label can be, especially if you're doing reports for a partner or a staff member in your shop or the dean, you can put in, Dean, this is the report to run for XYZ, you know, so that they basically can't fall off the wagon. Think of it as a bumper pad for your bowling alley there. Setting favorite reports for others, we're talking about setting up the dean's report. If you're a system administrator, you can actually go to the user that you're trying to set, that you need to set up a report for, click on Edit Favorite Reports, and you're able then to actually go into their favorite reports and set them up a file. So real quickly, I'm going to do that. So if I wanted to run reports with memo, I wanted to run that inventory on a regular basis. Here's how I would have to do it without the tool. So count the steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And bada bing, we got a report. Okay, if we were to make that a favorite report, go into favorite reports, click set report, pick my area, accounting, sub area is one line, one reg, report name is new, all reports with memo, query is course number begins with, and I could actually have a query that automatically picks a course number XYZ, so I wouldn't even have to type in the course number. I don't have one built, so I'll just have to use this one. Hit the done button, and I want to say that this is course inventory. Course inventory report. All right, so ready to run the report? We hit click, click, that's 2, 3, and we're getting not quite sure what that was. Check file does not exist. I think I blew out my system there. Let's run the deadbeat report from here. Alt F3, I want to make sure this is behaving. Okay, so that's working, but let's try the course summary by department. This is actually a handy report. Course number begins with 16F. So that basically you can save 3 to 4 steps on it. And for the steps kind of thing, that's one thing. But the other one is, again, if there are reports, you've got some users that really ought to be able to do their own reporting, but they struggle with remembering what was the query or remembering how to go through the process. It's a great way for you to get some independence among your users to get them to run some of their own reports. All right, back to the show here. Favorite reports for others. Exporting files. Now, we talked about that's one of your options of reports, the main reports, the function key reports, quick reports, and exporting the raw data to a file so that you can do whatever you want to with it. So basically, export the file. You can include the canceled, whatever else you want to do. It'll then give you a dialog box where you can click on the fields you want. And again, remember, if you're looking for a particular data field, you can go to the help guide, go to the screen layout, and you can go in and identify what is the field that I'm really looking for. Well, I want the, I don't know, the birthday field. Well, what is it? It's NM birth, so that you can have your, identify what is the field that you want to bring over. You can pick the fields you want. You can rearrange the order of the fields. You can sort the data. You can preview the data to make sure your query brought over the data you were expecting. And you can then export the data in whatever format you want. Again, back to the question about what are the best areas for reporting: names, mailing labels, date, courses, CEU reporting. Now, here's a tip. Need to export selected fields on a recurring basis. Let's say you always want to bring out addresses of an individual, of people to send to a mail house. And you need to do that, several times a week. Well, what you should do is use the copy to XLS function. And we're going to show you that. Well, so we're going to jump to manager. Whoops, that was the help guide. There's manager. And we're going to go to a report that has copy to XLS in it. And let's say that I had slept since I worked on this project a couple of days ago. I don't remember whether it deadbeat or was it mailing labels that I brought that out of. So I'm going to use the tool, reports, search reports for keyword, and I'm going to type in copy to XLS. Hit the OK button, no default. So it tells me now, here is the report area. It's in the label area, where is demographics, mailing labels, quick reports, mailing labels, and it's an additional report. It says additional report. The title is automatic export. All right, so now I know where to go. I'm going to go back to reports, demographics, mailing labels. I'm going to do show additional just to make sure, and there it is, automatic export. All right. So I'm going to show you in modify mode what exactly it looks like. And we're going to say, I'm in everybody who is interested in ACEware. So I'm going to search for the interest code ACEware. And I'm going to use the automatic export. Well, it's going to show me, here are all the people who have ACEware as an interest code. Lots of people. Fills the stadium. The secret for the automatic export is that you create just after using the expression builder, and you'd put in it the copy to XLS function with and it's kind of small, quote, comma separated, the field names that you want to export. Name 1, name 3, address 1, city, state, zip, and email. And again, you can add more. I think there's like a 250 character limit, so you'd have to, if you have a huge one, we'd need to work with you on that. So we're going to leave that alone. Close the report. So when we're done with the report, and we can print it or not, it'll then give us a save as. So it says, what do we want to do? We want to save this file to my desktop, and I'll call it Chuck Export. I already have one out there. But basically, I didn't have to go through the file selector, pick a field, pick a field, pick a field, pick an export, pick a location, send. I basically went through the shortcut, and you're going to have to bear with me. I got to get back to my desktop. Here's my file, Chuck Export, and I didn't have to do a thing in the exporting element, and there are the fields that I was able to generate. So again, you can do that. It doesn't have to be name records. If it's course records, it could be payment records, whatever you need to export on a regular basis. If you can use copy to XLS, you can automate that, or automate a whole bunch of that. Okay, 5 minutes. We are motoring on to the end here. Other resources. Again, we're going to go through these now. Number one resource is your tech. Now, again, most of you have had these already, but you do get 3 free custom reports with your original purchase. You certainly can ask your tech. You can certainly ask your tech about help with reporting to get started, help you troubleshoot that. If you need a special report and you don't have the time or nobody in the shop knows how to do it, we will build reports for you on an hourly charge basis. And again, the more detail you can give us about what you want on the report and how you want the report built, and again, the query that you want to use to build it, will save us time and you money. And again, we'll give you, if you send us that data, we'll give you a quote. It will say it'll take 2 hours to build a report. Most reports probably can be done, and it depends on the report. But a lot of reports generally take less than an hour, and I think our rate right now, what's shown, is $175 an hour. But that would build you a custom report. So, okay, other resources, Report Wizard. And again, I know we've got a number of users out there with Report Wizard. Basically, it's an add-on to the existing report system of Manager. Doesn't replace it. It's an enhancement. Some of the benefits, again, it does give you a nice tool for charts and graphs and dashboards. Again, stuff you really cannot do with the Manager's native reporting. It lets you schedule reports and deliver them via email. So that's pretty darn cool, where you can actually give the dean every Monday morning at 7 a.m. A report of last week's activities. Real words for building reports, dashboards, reports frames that tie to Lavery codes, Avery label codes, column width adjustments, some output options, shorter learning curve. And again, it depends. If you've ever worked with Crystal Reports, it is very similar to Crystal Reports. So again, and that's something you can add on to your student manager. One-time cost, by the way, that's $16.95. Remember the report area guide that tells you what data fields that you've got in the system. Top report guide. Again, if you have not seen this as a place to really see what you can do with the report writer, get on the web, and here we go. Get on the web, and under Customers, Student Manager Resources, Guides, Manuals, and White Papers, you're going to look for or search the website for Top Reports. And this is basically a PDF of different report formats that you can look at. And again, most of those are probably in your database, or if they're not in there, they're in the demo database report set. so that you could see if you're using those or if those might be useful to you in your program. Report templates. And again, I talked about the report template from Lee that we're going to be putting up there under the report area, which I was just at. Make sure. Oh, I went too far. Come back. There we go. If we go back to report templates now, quarterly growth, package summary, name reports, registration reports. I don't see that Cheryl has miscellaneous reports, hasn't got that up yet. But this is an area where you could go in. Actually, you can look at the picture of the, oh, that is it. That is the report. Let me see what you called it. See, she is that good. Quarterly growth. I believe that's the one. But that is gives you an idea of what's the that you can look at the report. If you want to download the files, you can click on the quarterly growth zip, and that'll have the two tables in it that you can use to run your report. Webinar archive. Again, if you have not looked at the webinar archive, I'm going to push my luck here and ask people, hold the hands down, to raise their, clear them, okay. Raise your hand if you watched a webinar in the last 3 months. We're going to use 3 months again. Raise your hand if you've gone in and looked at the webinar. And I do realize that everybody's got 4 jobs to do now and taking the time to do this, but got any takers in there, Sharon? Good. Good. Well, bless your hearts. Again, the reporting tool area has 20 hours of report help tools. Certainly, if you're a reader more than a watcher, you can go to the online help guide, go to reports, and again, you've got tips and tools about how to get into the reporting area. Well, okay, we're pretty close here, so we're going to give you my top 10 reports. Number 1, I would say use the heck out of favorite reports. If you run a report more than twice a month, I would say it's a candidate for favorite reports. Each individual staff member can have 10 private reports, and honestly, you can actually have 10 global reports for your unit. Number 9, prioritize additional reports. And again, the idea is that if you are, if you're running reports, let me get a reset on this to get my screen set up. If you're running reports out of Deadbeat and the report you want is, I'll get this up. The report you use a lot is Half-Life Report. What you ought to do, rename that report and put an asterisk in front of it, because the sort order, the way this is presented to the user is in alphabetical by title. And so by adding a space or an asterisk or an underscore to the first letter of the report, those reports will float to the top and your users will be able to see them rather than having to type, you know, W, whatever the particular name of the report is to find that. So that's a good one. Webinar archive. Again, we just did this. Go in and take a look at the report area. Lots of good tools. The help guide, the online help guide. It is your friend. Use it. Again, we talked about making your most frequently used report, if it's an additional report, the default one. And I believe that is, I'm not going to cover that right now, that should be in the help guide. Mature users, and this is something we didn't have a chance to really hit yet. If you've used Manager for a number of years, your original report set would have come out X number of years ago. You can modify those reports, but a lot of the old original reports may have been updated, most likely have been updated and improved. And so again, the idea of downloading a demo and looking at some of the reports in the demo would be probably give you more updated more enhanced, more detailed reports than some of the older ones that were in your system when you first installed it. Exporting data. If you're going to export data, get to use that. Get familiar with copy to XLS. And you can, it says copy to XLS, but you can actually also copy to, Matthew, I think CSV and I think SDF. It's got a couple of different options for formatting coming out of that. Number 3, use those function key reports. Again, F2 I use F5 a ton for the name lookup, but they're really handy. Go look up the webinar. You're going to find it useful. Spend quality time with the report area guide in the help guide so that you know what report areas are the ones that you're going to get. And number 1, call your tech. And particularly if you're looking for a report, you say, well, I need a report that is 2 foot by 3 foot, it's soft on the bottom, and it's colored brown. Well, you get the gist. If you can talk out with what you're looking for with your report, or even better yet, write up, make a mock-up of this report. Here's what I want it to show. Here's the order I want it to show. Is there anything out there that matches that up? They can tell you, well, we have one in the file, I'll email it, or B, the closest report area is going to be XYZ, and at least points you to an area that you know you're going to have a better chance of success with less time. All right, Sharon, we're 5 minutes over. I think we warned people this was going to be a full one. What questions do we want to cover now?
We had a question about organization of reports in the report wizard. Matthew, can you tell us if you can organize your reports by putting an asterisk next to that so that it pulls to the top as well?
Sure, or you can make folder. There's a folder structure in the report wizard, so you can have, you know, your top used reports in one folder, financial reports in another folder. I mean, you can set that all however you want, however you feel comfortable, and have a full folder structure. You can even have subfolders within things. So within favorite reports, you could have financial favorites and things like that. So
cool. Cool. Very good. Very good.
Here's another one. Is there a way to get a tally of all of the reports used within a specific time frame by a specific user, including how often they've used it? Challenge for you.
There would not be a query for that. That would be something we'd need to use. You'd need to use the magic box. Or I guess if you have the report wizard, if the user had the report wizard, they could use that because the reports table is base. But if that's somebody who does not have the report wizard, what we need to do is give them a script to run in what we call the magic box to get that data. Because otherwise, Matthew...
Yeah, I don't have the reports table open to the report wizard.
Oh, it's not open also, so
Nope.
you'd need to use magic box on that anyway. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Or some funky just do it's on a report out of deadbeat.
Right.
But, yeah.
Right. And there is the Just Do It tool allows you to build custom selects beyond what the query builder allows you to do. So if whoever that user was would write that down and send it into the tech, I think we can help them out with that. Other things, Sharon?
I think that gets all those questions answered. So.
Wow. Well, a couple people asked about, a couple other things coming up. Of course, go through the list. Annual users conference is coming up. Deadline for hotel is the 26th of May. We'd love to see you there. Next webinar, Smarketing. I wanted to get to that. Smarketing. Smart marketing with student managers. So again, that'll be the 15th of June. All right, let me just jump back to manager real quick on that. Explain people what we were talking about with the flag name. The mail label flag is under the demographics tab, if you click label flag, and let's say fall flyer, so we flagged that Naomi, and we're going to have somebody else. Carol Anderson wants a summer swing brochure. So if people are calling in asking for things to be mailed to them, if you've still got mail outs, flyers, summer activity brochures you're dealing with, you mark their mailing label flag. Then when you go into mailing labels, then when you go into mailing labels, you click print mark labels. When you run that, it'll automatically, I hit default, it'll automatically bring up the names of the people whom you marked. It would put the, if your report has as on, it could print the label information of what they wanted on the brochure. When you get done printing it, you can clear the label flag so that you've wiped out that set of requests because they've been sent, and now you're ready for the tomorrow's people calling in. I want you to send me the supervisory brochure. Send me the medical forms for the kids camp. Send me this, send me that. And it allows you to keep track of what your people are requesting to be mailed in. So, well, Sharon, I think we've kept people a whole 10 minutes afterwards, so mea culpa on that. Hopefully you've got some ideas. Matthew, anybody have any other closing comments on this? I think
we're good.
I think we're good. All right, Sharon, thank you much. And again, thanks to Deb Champion for a great slide set. We will see you next week or next month for the webinar on the 15th, Smarter Marketing with Student Manager, and hopefully also at the Users Conference. So thanks for coming in, guys. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you shortly. Bye-bye.